So I've popped over today. A friend of mine needs their fruit trees pruned. They asked me would I prune the apple, pear and plum trees in winter. I explained that the plum, and even if you have a cherry tree, you don't prune them until summertime. However, apple and pears in winter, you can do them now. So I'm going to show you how to prune trees in winter. So this plot holder has asked me to give it a good pruning back. Now, most people go by the 3Ds. I tend to go by the 4Ds. So the idea is to cut off dead branches, diseased branches, and also damaged branches. But also you need to consider the direction as well. So I use 4Ds on mine. Now, the idea is that you need to cut off everything that is crossing. So for instance, these two branches here are cut across each other. So you take one out. Now, you don't want branches rubbing against each other, because what will happen is then it will cause a wound, and that then is prone then for diseases and to make the plant ill. So cut it off, and it's best to do it now in the winter. You don't want to be doing it in the spring or summer, because that's when saps start flowing, and then the tree will initially like sap out, basically bleed out. So it's best to do it now while everything is dormant. So let's get on. So this is his entranceway here as well. So there is quite a lot that you can take off, but I'm actually going to take off this whole branch here. Now the reason is because this is his entrance. So don't be afraid to take things off sometimes as well. But so keep the structure of the tree though. So I'm going to be really mindful, but taking off little bits is okay. You know, it will be stressed out by it, but it'll recover really well. So on closer inspection, I've noticed there's quite a few diseased branches here. They've got like a canker on them. Cut those off. Diseased, damaged or dead branches, they all need to go. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll get back to you after I finish that. So if you're wondering, you know, what is disease, what is damaged? This tree has got some damage on one side of the tree. There's some snap branches. They'll all be taken away because they're doing no good to the tree. Also the diseased ones, there's got some canker on the branches. That's not producing enough goodness into that branch anyway, so cut them off, trim the fat. And if you're wondering about the direction of the branches, if they're crossing over or they're rubbing in the wind, then cut one of those off. Keep the one that's actually more healthy and pointing upwards. The other one, trim off, and then you're good to go. So now's a good time to give your trees and fruit bushes a good winter wash. So basically you can buy this from a garden centre. I tend to add 50 millilitres to a litre into a spray bottle. And yeah, you give it all a good wash over, and basically what happens is it puts natural oils onto the tree and stops aphids and bugs planting their eggs into the tree that will then hatch in spring and then damage your crop. So give it a good wash now, give it a good old clean over. I'll probably do this twice, once now and in a month's time. So when examining the tree, make sure you give this a good spray in between all the crevices, all the joins of all the branches, because that's where the bugs tend to lay their eggs. So give it a good wash over now, and then you should be good for spring. So now the fun part of pruning the tree into a nice goblet shape. And what you want to do is you want to give it good airflow but not stressing the tree out. If you stress that tree out by giving it too much of a hard prune, what will happen is in spring when it gets warmer, it will send out all new shoots, thinking that the tree is in danger. So just give it a light pruning if you can. If there's no need to give it a massive hard pruning, you should get some fruit then in the summer. So make sure as well that you use a nice clean secateurs that you've oiled up, cleaned, and made sure that there's no pest or disease on it, because you don't want to be transferring that to the tree. Right, let's prune the tree. So as you can see, these two are rubbing against each other. This seems like a better branch, so take it right back, just like that. Another thing that you want to be doing as well is that you want to be pruning so that the branches that you're leaving are shooting upwards into the sky. You don't want ones that are going out in a fan shape or dropping down to the floor. So all these lower branches will be taken off, because there's no fruit going to go on those anyway. You want them to be up on the top, off the ground. And yeah, that's my tip of the day today. If you are going to be trimming back the branches as well, make sure that you cut it above a bud. That bud then, make sure that it's pointing upwards, that it'll go into the tree. You don't want to leave a bud going downwards on the branch. You want to make sure that it's going upwards. Cut it about a centimetre after that, and then that bud then will turn into a next branch for next year. So let's get that done. So the tree's been pruned, it's had a winter wash. I'm also going to put a band of grease around the tree trunk. So what that does is it stops insects climbing up the tree trunk, laying their eggs in the branches, and then later on they will hatch in summer and then attack your crops, like your apples, like collie moss and things like that. They're a nightmare for when you have those beautiful apples on your tree and then you think, I'm gonna have a brilliant harvest, and then the grubs have already been hatched and eaten inside your fruit, and you don't want that. I'm also gonna do the same now with my fruit bushes. So now's the time to be pruning back your gooseberries, your black currants, your raspberries and things like that. It's the perfect time while they're dormant. I'm Danny and this is the Grapevine Garden.